1:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Catherine Pereira and read by Geethanjali Ramanayaka. The headlines. Daily scheduled power cuts from today. A wheat flour concession for estate families. 3 cabinet subcommittees to discuss imports from China, Japan and the Middle East. The Finance Minister assures EPF and ETF will not be subject to the 25% tax surcharge. 2,000 rupee relief package for 40 families at Grama Seva divisional level. Foreign news, Ukraine crisis, the US and Britain leaders say still hope for diplomatic agreement. News in detail now. The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka will announce daily scheduled power cuts today due to not having received sufficient fuel and furnace oil to generate power, and also taking into consideration the hydropower capacity in reservoirs. Following discussions this morning, PUCSL Chairman Janaka Ratnayaka said that the decision to impose daily power cuts would be taken into account. He said arrangements will be made to provide hydropower for all essential services and said he will request the business community to use their generators instead of using power from the main grid. He said that the power shedding will be imposed so as to cause the minimum inconvenience to the public. The duration of a power interruption cannot be specified. The number of scheduled power cuts will be decided depending on the daily usage of electricity by the consumers. The Cabinet of Ministers has granted the approval to provide wheat flour to families of plantation workers as a relief measure. Finance Minister Basil Rajapaksa had submitted a cabinet memorandum under the caption Implementation of Proposals to Minimize Economic Constraints Confronted by the Public at the meeting of the Cabinet of Ministers held on the 18th of January. A committee headed by the Minister of Trade later issued recommendations considering the resolution regarding wheat flour relief to estate worker families, which was among the above proposals. As per the recommendations, the Cabinet of Ministers approved the resolution submitted by the Minister of Trade to provide 15 kilograms of flour each to 115,867 beneficiary families on a monthly basis. The Cabinet of Ministers has given the go-ahead to appoint 3 cabinet subcommittees to discuss alternative methods for importing essential food items, raw materials and industrial goods from China, Japan and the Middle Eastern countries. During the cabinet meeting held last month, the memorandum Economy 2022 and the Way Forward was taken up for discussion. The cabinet had considered the need to identify alternative methods for importing essential food items and raw materials required for export-oriented industries and industrial goods. Finance Minister Basil Rajapaksa has explained and assured the Cabinet of Ministers that 11 funds, including the Employees Provident Fund (EPF) and the Employees Trust Fund (ETF), will be exempted from the one-time tax surcharge of 25% proposed in the 2022 budget. It had been proposed in the 2022 budget to impose a 25% surcharge tax on individuals or companies earning an annual taxable income of 2,000 million rupees or more. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Minister Bandula Gunawardena says that the government has reached a policy decision to provide a 2,000 rupee relief package to the 40 families at each Grama Seva divisional level. The cabinet approval has been received in this regard. The program will be implemented covering all Grama Seva divisions in the island. He made these remarks at the Cabinet Notify media briefing held in Colombo today. The Tourism Authority says that the number of tourist arrivals in the country has increased. Accordingly, over 39,621 tourists have arrived in the country during the first 12 days of this month. On the 12th of this month, Sri Lanka recorded the second highest tourist arrivals in a day, with 4,677. And that ends local news for now.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Ministry of Health says booster vaccines have been given to more than 6 million people. The entire dose of vaccines have been administered to over 37 million individuals. Out of this number, 2 doses of vaccines have been provided to more than 4 million people. The number of persons who have obtained the first dose of the vaccines have exceeded to 16.8 million. Meanwhile, the epidemiology unit of the ministry said majority of the COVID-infected persons have recovered. The overall infected patients have been reported as over 629,000. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
In Watchlight, the health sector points out that a large number of Omicron-infected patients are receiving treatment at the ICU. Director of the Health Promotion Bureau, Specialist Dr. Ranjit Batuantudava, said that it is a wrong belief of some groups that the Omicron variant is not dangerous. He said there's a possibility of getting reinfected with the virus for those who have already been infected. There's also a high risk for the patients who have various complications if they contract the Omicron virus. He requested for all to take the COVID eradication vaccines soon. And that was Watchlight. Now we move on to a bulletin of world news, and in the headlines, the US and Britain leaders say there's still hope for diplomatic agreement. Ukraine president calls for citizens to unite. Pharmaceutical products in rivers threaten world health. World news in detail now. The US and the UK leaders have said not all hope is lost for a diplomatic solution to the Ukraine crisis, but warned that the situation remains fragile. In a 40-minute call, Joe Biden and Boris Johnson agreed a deal was still possible despite a chorus of warnings of imminent Russian military action. Russia has always denied plans to invade Ukraine despite massing more than 100,000 troops on the border. Yesterday, its foreign minister said diplomacy was far from exhausted. More than a dozen nations have urged their citizens to leave Ukraine from the US, and the US has said aerial bombardments could begin at any time. Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky has declared February 16th as a day of unity, a date he says he heard Russia will attack his country. Zelensky made the remark in a video message posted on social media yesterday. In the message, the president asked his country's people to hoist the national flag and wear ribbons of the same blue and yellow colors on that day to show their unity to the world. Zelensky added that his country aspires for peace and seeks to solve all issues through diplomatic negotiations. Pollution of the world's rivers from medicines and pharmaceutical products poses a threat to environmental and global health, a report says. Paracetamol, nicotine, caffeine, and epilepsy and diabetes-related drugs were widely detected in a University of York study. The research is among the most extensive undertaken on a global scale. Rivers in Pakistan, Bolivia, and Ethiopia were among the most polluted. Rivers in Iceland, Norway, and the Amazon rainforest fared the best. But it's already well established that dissolved human contraceptives can impact the development and reproduction of fish, and scientists fear the increased presence of antibiotics in rivers could limit their effectiveness as medicines. Back to the headlines of the world news. The US and Britain leaders say there's still hope for diplomatic agreement. Ukraine president calls for citizens to unite. And pharmaceutical products in rivers threaten world health.
Development News is brought to you by Let's take coal out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
A multi-modal public transport hub connecting Katunayake Airport is to be established along with an extensive railway line connecting Wayangoda and Orugodawat railway stations to the Katunayake Airport. Tourism Minister Prasanna Rantunga said that the cabinet approval is intended to be obtained for a feasibility study for this project. China Harbour Corporation has agreed to carry out a feasibility study at their own expense.
Development News was brought to you by the coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation, with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928. Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
The Kandy team has qualified for the final match of the National Super League cricket tournament. The team won 5 matches out of the 7 matches they played. They have scored 26 marks. A decisive battle has been created among the teams of Jaffna, Galle and Colombo to qualify for the final match. The other teams for the final match will be decided from the matches to be held tomorrow. Sri Lanka spinner Hasaranga has tested positive for COVID-19. Sri Lanka cricket announced today. Accordingly, Hasaranga has been ruled out of the upcoming third T20I against Australia. Sri Lanka has already lost first 2 matches of the 5-test match series. Hasaranga was found to be positive during a routine rapid antigen test conducted this morning, the SLC said in a tweet. He is currently undergoing COVID-19 protocols and is placed in isolation.
Cash through NSB globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Supporting the speedy revival of the tourism industry in Sri Lanka, the European Union delegation to Sri Lanka has allocated funds to help strengthen the local wellness tourism capacity for Sri Lanka to transform into an attractive destination for wellness tourism. This will be carried out under the guidance of Sri Lanka Tourism. The resulting Sri Lanka Wellness Tourism Stakeholder Project will be officially launched today.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSB globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
A program will be implemented to enhance the economic conditions of the entrepreneurs who are engaged in palmyra and coconut-related products. Solutions will be provided to the problems faced by them. Measures will also be taken to promote a palmyra and coconut-related industry in the area. And that was Economic News.
Economic News, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011. Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
In the weather report, the Met Department says that the showery condition is expected to temporarily reduce in the northern, north central and eastern provinces and in the next few days. Showers or thundershowers may occur at several places in the southern province and in the Ratnapura district during the evening or at night. Mainly fair weather will prevail elsewhere. That was the weather report. And to end this news broadcast, back to the headlines. Daily scheduled power cuts from today. A wheat flour concession for estate families. 3 cabinet subcommittees to discuss imports from China, Japan and the Middle East. The finance minister assures EPF and ETF will not be subjected to 25% tax surcharge. 2,000 rupees relief package for 40 families at Gramaniyadari division level. Foreign news, Ukraine crisis, the US and Britain leaders say still hope for diplomatic agreement. And with that, we end this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.